thrusts are a powerhouse move to learn. So for beginners who have never done a hip thrust before, then using a decline bench, something like this, is really helpful to learn the form of a hip thrust, because there are a lot of things that can go wrong when you're doing a hip thrust in your form. So you want to learn correctly from the start. And this is also a great way for people who may have never done any exercise like this before to start off safely and to feel like they're successful at the exercise. That's important, right? We want to build confidence and look back and know that, oh, I can do this, right? This is not an exercise that's beyond my capability. So hip thrusts done on a decline bench like this, okay? So if I'm laying down, okay, now I have this area behind me that can support me, and I get kind of a feeling, I can feel my body relate to the bench. So when I am going to push myself up, okay, and I can feel my glutes and hamstrings holding me. Now, if you have done the exercises before, the Glute Bridge 2020, the prone hamstring glute raise, those other exercises, and you do those before you do this hip thrust on a decline bench, then your glutes are going to be primed and they're going to start to know how to respond, right? But a wrong position for this is, if I am down on the bench, I should make sure that I feel my whole spine touch the bench. And if I go to push up and I push way up and I'm up super high, okay, and I have again this extension in my back where I have lost that ability to kind of keep my spine somewhat neutral. Okay, so if I push up like here, yeah, my glutes may be working in a clenched way, but they're not working in a authentic way that, oh, my glutes are doing the work, right? Because then my low back is contributing to the movement, and we don't want that to happen. You may also feel your quads work too much in that position. So another thing that you want to pay attention to is your foot position, right? So we don't want our feet to be too far underneath us, right? So see where my heel is compared to my knee. I don't want the positions to be there. I want to make sure, right, that my heel is kind of directly underneath my knee. So I have a 90-degree bend between my knee, okay, down to my foot. So I want to make sure I have a 90-degree bend there. Another thing I want to make sure is that my legs don't just externally rotate easily or internally rotate easy. I want to make sure that I keep a neutral position. Then I'm going to find that contact of my lower spine to the bench. I'm going to push my rib cage down with an exhale. Now, I'm going to slowly tilt my pelvis. So I'm going to feel like I am pulling upwards. So I'm going to feel like my pelvis pulls up to me, and that I'm taking it and I'm tipping it back towards me. Generally, when I give that clue, people are like, oh, I feel it, right? So then they'll feel underneath. When you go to lower down, lowering is not relaxation. Lowering is resistance. So you're resisting your body from going down, so the glutes are active on the whole way. You're making sure that you feel contact with the spine to the bench, and then again you're going to push up and you're going to use that area, especially the area that you found really well in your prone hamstring glute raise. Use that area to push you up. Making sure that you're keeping your rib cage, okay, active, that you feel that you have your posterior tilting of the rib cage down. So what you can do is place 2 fingers here, okay, and you could feel your internal obliques staying on. If you can push through, right, and all of a sudden I can reach through and I can massage my kidneys and ovaries, okay, most likely I'm not engaged, right? I don't have that internal engagement that I need, that stability that I need, right? So once you get all of those aspects working, right, then, you know, try to get 10 to 15 good controlled reps and take your time. Focus on form, okay? Focus that you have all these parts working simultaneously, because this is going to be such a great neuromuscular education for when you start doing rear lunges, okay, or step ups, or step downs, or squats, right? Because now you're going to have the ability to focus on many different things. Like I said, you're going to be able to rub your stomach, pat your head, walk and chew gum, because all of these things are going to be working at the same time. How many times do I hear someone say, oh my gosh, wow, when you're really doing this right, you have to think about it. And I'm like, yes, Yes, you do have to think about it, because that's why the studio is named Think Holistic Fitness, right? Because we need to actually think, not just move chaotically, not just sweat our face off, right? That's not going to last. That's not something that's sustainable, right? And burning a zillion calories all the time is not a great fat loss method, nor is it a great method to hold on to the health of your joints, right? Learning how to move really well is going to go a lot farther for you. So hope that this beginner hip thrust video helps you, okay? And when you get this mastered, then check out the actual hip thrust video and what it is that you want to do to make sure you're doing this correctly.